the summer of 1941, the German military machine rolled into Soviet territory with a terrifying, seemingly unstoppable momentum. Over 1 million soldiers, backed by 134 divisions and cutting-edge armored vehicles, crossed the border. They quickly encircled Soviet armies, pushing within 200 miles of Moscow. The invasion appeared flawless, but the advance didn't crash into a superior military wall. It crashed into autumn rain. A massive deluge turned the landscape into a bottomless mudbath. Heavy artillery and tanks were swallowed up in 6 feet of oozing sludge. Then, the temperature dropped to -40 degrees. The remaining diesel engines froze solid. The invading force was entirely suffocated by the environment. We are heavily conditioned to look at history and assume that survival relies on direct force, yet the most imposing power in any conflict is an invisible atmosphere that dictates the actual terms of survival. This brings us to a concept called a metasphere, a governing spiritual and physical environment that establishes the absolute rules for what can and cannot survive inside it. When human effort is forced to push against the crushing weight of a hostile environment, the return on investment is almost zero. According to biblical texts, the fall of humanity was a planetary shift in climate. An ecosystem that once cooperated seamlessly with human effort was replaced with a harsh atmosphere naturally predisposed to produce thorns and thistles. Human progress is strictly capped by the ecosystem. Trying to pull weeds one by one is an exhausting, losing battle if the climate itself is optimized to grow them. To reclaim this territory, God's strategy does not involve engaging in a conventional ground war. Instead, the plan is to override the environment completely. This introduces what we can think of as weapons of mass construction. The primary asset in this arsenal is described simply as the knowledge of His glory. Imagine an aerosolized equalizer, a saturating presence that smooths out hostility and instantly suppresses predatory instincts. As this atmosphere sets in, external threats and attacks deflect off the outer edge, unable to penetrate. This shift doesn't rely on addressing every individual problem on the ground. Instead, it deploys a climate where the old impulses simply lack the atmospheric conditions required to survive. We currently face a globally hostile environment. Waiting for the entire planet's weather system to shift isn't a viable option. The practical strategy here is creating a microclimate. This means generating a restricted, localized zone with conditions completely different from the deadly exterior. Humans do this naturally. We build heavily insulated homes and heated greenhouses to sustain fragile life right in the middle of lethal winters. This clarifies the core mission of the modern church. Rather than operating as a military base to fight exhausting cultural battles, it is designed to function as a generator for these spiritual microclimates. In this zone, the dynamic changes. Outside pressure is filtered out, providing the stable ground necessary for growth. Much like a plant responding to light and heat without being forced, a community inside this metasphere begins to reflect the nature of the atmosphere it breathes. Success isn't found in fighting the cold, but in building the fire. When you engineer the atmosphere, the life you want to see becomes the natural outcome of the environment you've created.